Good morning, and welcome to Talk of the Town on 99.7, 1450 WHTC, and WHTC.com.
And we welcome you to Talk of the Town for this Wednesday, September the 16th. I'm Gary Stevens. In about an hour, Jared Fritzman will be in for Patty Vandenberg, What's New Around Holland. In our 10:30 segment, we'll be joined by Steve Rustigas of the Holland Rescue Mission. And we'll have some open line following the 10 and 11 o'clock news blocks. But today, we'll be focusing on Escape Ministries, our monthly update with Escape Ministries. And today, we are joined by Kristina Sage, who is the Education Director at Escape, along with one of the students in the ASAP program, Noah. And they are joining us today from Escape Ministries headquarters, which is off of 32nd Avenue near Lincoln Road in Holland. Kristina and Noah, good morning and welcome to WHTC.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for joining us. We're going to talk a little bit about how Escape Ministries help the youth of our area. We say at risk, but Kristina, I would say more than anything else, could that be somewhat of a misnomer because of the fact that they might be, by our outside perceptions, at risk, but really for people, and Noah will explain his story, and others that you and others at Escape's ministries work with, they're not so much at risk as they're just people that need a hand and need a little help.
Yep, exactly. I think you said it beautifully. We have kids here that truly, I'm honored to work here. I'm honored to work alongside Noah. This is what, year 3 that we've been together?
Yes.
So definitely that. They're kids that just had made a simple mistake, and we're trying to make sure that they can get back on track with all the support and love, compassion that we share in the building. And then they're just great individuals. And I think Noah's story is just one to be heard and valued because he has just turned his whole life around, and we couldn't be more proud.
We'll turn the focus to Noah, who is a student in the ASAP program. But before we talk to Noah, tell us a little bit about the ASAP program, Kristina Sage. What exactly is that with Escape Ministries?
Sure. So ASAP stands for Alternative Suspension Accountability Program. So we basically serve students who've been suspended or expelled from the local districts. Right now, we currently just have Holland kids and West Ottawa kids. And basically, we are trying to bridge the gap to get them back into school successfully. We work on their academic standards. A lot of the times they come with us with a bunch of conditions they need to meet in order to get back into school. And so we partner with them to make sure that they're successful and that success back into school happens. So that's where I got to meet Noah. Noah came to us, I think, winter 2018 or 2019, and he's been with us since then. And we are trying to get him back into school so he can graduate on time with his class.
Let's talk to Noah, who is a student in this ASAP program. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for sharing your story. A little bit about how you came to Escape, what may, shall we say, led you to this maybe second chance at life. I don't want to make it sound that serious or that dramatic, but it is, to a certain extent, a second chance at life.
Yes. So I think a little over 2.5 years ago, I was kicked out of West Ottawa Public Schools, and I think it was actually my head principal who had referred me to Escape Ministries, and it said that if I attend this school, that I can keep up with my grades, so that when I was able to re-enter the next year, that I was able to catch up with like all my credits and stuff like that. When I first came to Escape, I kept doing the things that kicked me out of school originally, and that led me to getting kicked out of Escape as well. After the summer of 2019, I came back. I spent a little bit of time in the Ottawa County Juvenile Detention Center. After I came out, I was able to come back into Escape with a different mindset, and ever since then, I've just been catching up on as much grades as possible. Ever since like the COVID stuff happened, it kind of sent me back of when getting back into West Ottawa. But ever since then, I've just been, I've gotten a job, and I've came to school every day and killed the assignments just to catch up as much as possible.
And he passed his road test, which is awesome. So he is a licensed driver as well. So all good things.
Yes.
We're really proud of him.
Noah, was your situation, and I don't want to get too quote unquote personal, was your situation a case of perhaps you needed somebody to put a shoulder, put an arm around a shoulder, somebody to make you feel like you belonged? And maybe Escape gave you that opportunity to feel as if you belonged without, running afoul of what really we need from our society.
The thing that I like about Escape that's different than normal school is that it's a little bit more smaller, and it's a little bit more relaxed and laid back, and you get to get more comfortable with your teachers, and you get a lot more closer with your teachers, and it's a lot more one-on-one help than if you were in a classroom with 28 students and one teacher per class.
Yep. And we do got the benefit where I've known Noah now for 3 years, and we kind of have built more of a family relationship with our kids, which I love. And so it's not easier, but we bicker just like family members in this house, because we got to get it done, and we know that we all have the same goal in mind to make sure that they're successful. So
we're talking with Kristina Sage, who's the Education Director of Escape Ministries, and Noah, who's involved with the ASAP program at Escape. If you have a question for Kristina or Noah, they'll be happy to answer it at 395-1450, 395-1450. How much of a curveball did the mid-March decision involving COVID-19, the stay home, stay safe, safer at home restrictions, how much of a curveball to you, Noah, did it throw in terms of, hey, I want to stay in this program, but we can't be together right now?
It impacted me a lot. I know it closed down a lot of things, but just before the whole COVID thing had happened, I had gotten a job at the Holland Buffalo Wild Wings here. And ever since then, I've been working 5-6 days a week since then. And ever since school started coming back, I just wanted to come back to school. I saved up enough for a really nice car, and I've just got really motivated for it. And so now that I have a car and everything, I've just been really motivated to graduate on time with the class that I wanted to.
It sounds like Kristina can sort of amplify this, and Noah as well. Sounds as if you really needed to have a goal in front of you, so like something in front of you want to chase, you want to get, and it's sort of like adding that focus in that regard.
Absolutely. I think the goal was one piece of it, and then having a consistent schedule that he was accountable for, that he knows that every day I have to show up for work, and that is partnered with my education and viewing his education as something with purpose and value. I think all of that together has made him so successful this time around, I guess I could say. So
before this segment, when we were wrapping up the WHTC morning news, I had a story about, I sort of related my first job where I got a paycheck. And no, I did not save. I didn't take a photo of the paycheck. I didn't save the paycheck or stuff like that. But it does, it does sort of, you start thinking, hey, something? I earned this. And there's tangible evidence of it, not just, oh, you got some money from tips and stuff like that. You got that first paycheck. That's what I thought. What about you, Noah, when you got that first paycheck from Buffalo Wild Wings?
When I got my first paycheck, I was just trying to figure out, my dad obviously opened up a bank account and everything for me, and I was learning everything about how to start saving money and stuff. So I'd put some of my paycheck in my checking account, some of my savings account. So I had some to spend throughout the week and some to save. And I did my best to work as much hours. I would work overtime almost every week, and I saved up a lot. Now I have a really nice car.
And a lot of times he would leave directly from school. We would drop him off to work, so to make sure he got there on time, and he would come with his uniform so he could transition into work mode. So
yes.
Kristina, talk a little bit about the financial aspect. I would think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I would think that Escape helps youngsters, not just Noah, but others as well, in terms of handling their money, because that's something that, responsible handling of money is just as much of education as it is anything else.
Yep. So there is it's awesome because we do have the Career Connections piece where we kind of trickle some of that material we've learned through Career Connection summer program. into ASAP, and we are taking on this year on Thursdays. We're going to make sure that the kids have, make sure all the kids have resumes. They know how to go out and ask for an interview, all of those things, get their foot in the door. So we're going to make sure that's part of the curriculum. And previous years, what we've done is we made sure that every kid that comes into our program has a resume and has connections where to go and ask if they're hiring for 15, 14, 16, 17-year-olds. So we want to make sure that that piece is included.
We're talking with Noah, who's a member of the ASAP program at Escape Ministries here in Howland, and Kristina Sage is the education director at Escape. And if you have a question for them, they'll be happy to answer it at 395-1450, 395-1450. I want to touch upon something that you, Kristina, and you, Noah, both mentioned a little bit earlier. The fact that you got not only expelled from West Ottawa High School, Noah, but you also got expelled from Escape. Talk a little bit about second chances in that regard for you, Noah, how it was for you. And then Kristina, talk a little bit about how Escape handles young men and women, such as Noah, who may fall out of the program, and they try to get them back into the program.
Well, to be honest, I was really lucky. I was really given like a second chance, but it made me really learn, because the situation that got me kicked out here was basically the same situation that got me kicked out of West Ottawa as well. And honestly, I could have prevented myself out of both situations to get kicked out of, or like I could have prevented myself from both situations from getting out of trouble. But the second time that I did it, I really learned my lesson the second time. So when I came back to Escape, I did a lot better. I don't know. It really felt great to get a second chance. It took a lot more to get back in the second time, but It was really worth it in the end.
Yeah, so that process that Noah went through, so what happened was he was written up for 3. Every student gets 3 write-ups. We don't want to write them up, but we want to have that accountability piece. So if they are written up 3 times, they do get dismissed from the program with the opportunity to get back in, but they do have to go before the board and prepare almost like a presentation before our disciplinary board, and together they come to a decision to see if that student's taking it seriously, they're taking ownership, they're accountable for what has happened. And if they get voted back in, then we create, Noah had his own set of conditions that he had to kind of abide by, that were slightly a little bit more harsh and more, had a little bit more accountability to it. But he was able to do that, and there's like a probation period that he passed, and so now he's in regular standing and he's doing awesome. So
let me ask you a couple of questions, Noah. First of all, it's a humbling experience, what you've gone through, isn't it?
Yes.
How have you looked at yourself, if you have had a chance to, between what you were, say, heading into 2018 and now, as we're more than 3/4 of the way through 2020? Look at yourself then and look at yourself now. How have you changed?
Well, a lot has changed, actually. The type of friend groups that I'm surrounded myself around, I think that was one of the major things that really impacted me, and that took me one of the longest things to get over. Yes, it was I don't know, it was just really difficult.
I think I've noticed, just speaking at what I've seen through him, I saw somebody who really wanted to be a follower and kind of just join the crowd, and now he is comfortable being a leader. It's going to make me cry, but I'm just really, truly proud of him. He really stands out and is such a leader and makes sure that all the kids that are coming in feel welcome, heard, safe. And so just to see that transformation in him over the years has just been really humbling for me as a teacher, but I know that he feels weird talking about himself, but I know this boy is proud of himself because how he walks is different. So.
And along those lines, then, to a certain extent, Kristina, Noah can be sort of like an extension of what you and other counselors at Escape are doing, sort of like, you've a young person, maybe, someone that's a little younger than Noah right now that comes in, doesn't know what's going on, and, they made a mistake or two, and Noah could say, hey, listen, I've been in your shoes. Here's what I did. Follow me.
Yep. Yep, he's definitely taken on that leadership role, and he didn't even really ask for it. It just happened naturally. Do you notice yourself doing that, or is it just happening naturally for you?
I don't know, to be honest. Probably happening naturally now.
Yep. So just really proud.
Well, it's, well, these are stories I think we need to a step forward for, and to spotlight even more. Because we do unfortunately spotlight the problems. They make the headlines. We have arrests and outrages going on, and when we can pass on stories such as this, that is indeed very good. Before we take our break, I know that perhaps maybe not so much people listening to us directly right now, but family members that maybe have a son, a grandson, granddaughter, daughter that is having problems, is struggling, that could possibly be using Escape Ministries. Kristina, tell us how they can become involved, how they can connect with Escape, that can be able to help them in the way, to a certain extent, that you've helped, say Noah, who's right to your left.
Sure. So honestly, we have an open door policy. So if any family wants to come in, if they're having some difficulties, let's sit down and chat. We have after school tutoring for kids. I know so many kids are choosing the online option with COVID and everything. So we have after school tutoring Tuesdays and Thursdays, 3 to 5 o'clock. We do pickups for that. And then if any student is suspended or expelled or is out of school, connect with me. We would love to sit down and chat and talk to you about the program. We have Westside Boxing, which is an awesome outlet. It's Monday through Friday, 3 to 7 o'clock. So that's another way that you can get your foot in the door. And just getting your foot in the door is a way to connect with so many different people that are connected with different networks or different programs. So always here to support and help wherever it's needed.
We've been talking earlier with Kristina Sage, who's the education director, along with Noah, one of the participants in Escape's ASAP program. AJ, reason why I'm asking you to come on board is because, frankly, these programs don't exist unless the help comes from the community. Some of the normal fundraising efforts for Escape Ministries were casualties of COVID-19 and the restrictions that came on board, but fortunately there have been some helping hands to keep Escape going.
Yeah, I mean, we always sit in a posture of gratitude and thankfulness for what the community is able to do, and kind of like you mentioned, always a spirit of hoping for more, because we know that the more investment that we make in young people's lives, the more that we're able to propel them towards something better. You mentioned earlier, like, we see a lot of the stuff on the headlines and the negative stuff, and I wonder what we do as a community. Do we move towards those things and those people, or do we step away and just result to commenting and forming opinions without getting to know those people? One thing I've noticed, especially in this season with COVID and with the beginning of the school year, we have less students. Usually our population is about like 15 to 20. And we see about 70 kids in our ASAP program over the course of the year. Right now, we started at about 8, now we're about 10, and we have enough staff and volunteers to really give the attention that the kids need, and that they can thrive in. And so when someone's making an investment in Escape, financially, that's empowering us to hire great staff, keep those staff around for a long time so they can keep making the investment that they are. And that's not one teacher for 15, 20 kids. It's, hey, we can have 4 people here. We can have an intern, we can have one-on-one attention for the kids that really need it, because the ones who are getting kicked out of school, a lot of times it's because they don't have the support that they need, and we don't want to keep them there, but rather empower them from that place to be able to thrive on their own. So that's a big deal for us, and I've been really blessed to see in this time, like, volunteers always help that. So if you're out there and you're looking for something to do, like Kristina mentioned, we have after school tutoring. We have a guys group called the Brotherhood that can use volunteers, the boxing program, the ASAP program. Those volunteers multiply our efforts with our staff. Say, hey, join this culture where we are going to wrap around these young people and really try and propel their lives to something better.
That's one thing in terms of volunteering, but financially as well. How can people help in that regard?
Write a check to Escape and send it to us. You can go online to our website, www.escapeinc.org, www.escape-out.org and then find the donations link. And also, we have a pop can drive that's been going since May, and we are 250,000 cans in. So keep them coming. We got just a 24-hour drop-off in our trailer in the back, and those are all ways that you can help. Stay engaged. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram. We're at Escape YFGK, and that's a great way to see what's happening, see the results of those investments and donations. It's all really helpful to track with what's going on.
That's the reason why I wanted to get you on board for a couple of moments, AJ, because I wanted to talk a little bit about how people can be involved with Escape Ministries and talk more about the success stories so far that Kristina Sage, your education director, as well as Noah, who's to your right, in the ASAP program have been. Other stories can be told, hopefully will be told, and hopefully we won't have too many, one that got through, slip through. We don't want to do too many of those. I'll be honest with you about that. But Escape has moved forward and has moved forward with some, let's put it this way, 2020 has been a very turbulent year in more ways than one for Escape Ministries. We're just glad we're able to help in terms of getting the word out. And not only will we have, of course, the podcast of our conversation with Kristina and Noah and AJ on our website at WHTC.com in a few moments. We'll put the link to our Zoom connection video as well in the description of the podcast when we upload it in a little bit at WHTC.com. So for Kristina Sage, who right now our Zoom connection, we see her there, as well as Noah, who is a student in the ASAP program, and AJ Westendorp. To all three of you, thank you very much for joining us today on WHTC's Talk of the Town. We'll put a link to Escape's website. We put the podcast up on our website at WHTC.com. To all three of you, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That is AJ Westendorp along with Kristina Sage and Noah from Escape Ministries.